Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to this review and preview show. Going to look back at all the games on Monday and look ahead and give predictions to the games on Friday and over the course of next weekend. Going to start off with the Rovers derby. Sligo Rovers 2, Shamrock Rovers 1 at the showgrounds. And what a fantastic win this is for Sligo Rovers. Their first points of the season is 3 points. An absolutely brilliant win for them. Much needed win for them, obviously, as well. I'd say their morale and confidence is quite low in the camp. So to get that win on a Monday at the showgrounds, absolutely fantastic. One thing I'd like to say as well, quickly, before I kind of begin properly, is that some of the crowds for Monday night are fantastic. I'm used to going, I went to St. Pat's and Derry City in the Monday. And usually I got to Monday games and you kind of feel a bit like the atmospheres aren't good, etc., etc. You know, it just feels like not quite the same as the Friday nights. But I have to say, the atmosphere was good in that match. We'll get onto that later. But the atmosphere seemed good at the showgrounds, and you know the crowds were up everywhere. For Monday night, it's fantastic, and you know the home support's all a great win for Sligo Rovers. Shamrock Rovers are now unbelievably bottom of the league. They've had 3 games this so far this season, all away from home. I'm sure they can't wait to get back to Tala. We'll get on to them in a minute, but Sligo Rovers obviously took the lead in 38 minutes, a free kick. McIlroy wins it at the back post, heads it back across. There's a bit of a scramble, comes out. Hutchinson swings on it with his right foot to put Sligo Rovers ahead. And it's one thing Shamrock Rovers struggled all night was set pieces. They really struggled with set pieces, and obviously later on they conceded from a set piece. But Graham Burke equalises on 68 minutes. It's good play. He's only on the pitch about 2 or 3 minutes. Good play by Grant. Plays it through. Burke gets into a brilliant position. And, you know, Grant's pass means Burke can slide it past Conor Walsh in goal, who made his first start of the season. Sligo Rovers started off with Conor Walsh in goal. His first start of the season, as I mentioned. At centre-back, they had McIlroy and Mahon. Lintott played at right back and Hutchison at left back. They're the same players that played, basically. The same back 4, not the same back 5, of course, that played against St. Patrick's Athletic. In midfield, they had Conor Malley and Doyle Hayes. Eldin played. This time he was back inside, played more on the right with Fitzgerald on the left, Kavanagh up top. Hikiki kind of played as a kind of a Roman number 8, number 10 at times in the middle of the park. And yeah, it was interesting that they changed the goalkeeper. By the way, if you're a Sligo fan, do you think that was the right decision? By the way, they won the game, so I suppose it was in many ways. Shamrock Rovers played, obviously, Ed McGinty at the showgrounds for his first appearance ever, really, playing against Sligo Rovers at the showgrounds, of course. And they had an interesting lineup because they had Lopez, there was no Lee Grace, Lopez, Cleary and Honahan as their centre backs, so Sullivan and Grant as their wing backs, Grant setting up a goal. In midfield, you had Matt Healy, Gary O'Neill, Dylan Watts started the game. Aaron Green played behind Michael Noonan. He was replaced Green by Graham Burke. But from a Shamrock Rovers point of view, very disappointing. Again, a poor start to the season. I don't think they strengthened enough, personally. Ahead of the season, I really don't. We've talked about it before. I mentioned Ferrugia, Kenny, players of that are gone. Many other players, Poom, etc. Burns, etc., etc. Some of them they didn't have a choice as such as well, to be fair. But I'm surprised they didn't do more work to try and replace some of these players, if I'm honest with you. I think their squad looks weaker than last season. They've started poorly. They look a bit leggy in the games I've seen them play, if I'm honest too. They look extremely leggy. And they're really struggling. Sligo Rovers, full of enthusiasm, full of intent in this game, and well able and well up for the game. And it's fantastic for them because, you know, a lot of people think they'll finish bottom, including myself. I've tipped them to finish bottom of the league. So it's a much welcome win for them. John Russell will be absolutely delighted with that. And, you know, I've said it before, there are no easy games in this division, that no matter who finishes last, they're going to get a lot of points in this division. I can guarantee you that. So decent side Sligo, there's no doubt about it, and the main aim for them will be to try and stay up, I believe, in the league this season. But yeah, that's a massive win for them. Be interested to see how they get on Friday. Apologies for that. So let me know what you think in the comments if you're a Sligo Rovers fan or a Shamrock Rovers fan. Next up is I was at Richmond Park and I vlogged this game, checked that vlog out. St Patrick's Day 2, Derry City nil. Aidan Keena is now top scorer in the league in 5 goals. A penalty in 16, a penalty on 67 minutes to give the Saints a 2-0 lead. This was a really interesting game because Pats only had Chris Forrester as their only recognised central midfielder playing. McClellan played alongside him and done a good job. Forrester was brilliant. I thought he was man of the match. Pats played a 9 in goal. Shelbourne was right back. Left back was Breslin, Gravossi and Redmond centre back. In midfield, Forrester, McClellan. On the right wing was Albazzetti and the left wing was Mulroney. Melia played up front with Keena. Mason Melia at times was the deeper of the two, to be honest. But they played more or less as a pair. Derry City did bring in, I questioned in the preview whether they'd bring in Houben, for example, and Doherty for this game, and they did do that. Brian Maher started in goal. Doherty was at left back. Right back was Adam O'Reilly, interestingly, who wasn't bad there, actually, to be fair, but he is a midfielder, of course, and I think his energy was lost there. Connolly and Holt played centre backs, and I mentioned the right back, obviously, Adam O'Reilly. McMullen also played in this game alongside Winchester. When I say alongside Winchester, McMullen was on the right. Winchester and White were in the middle of the park. Duffy was on the left and Houben was up front. And it was an interesting game because I quizzed during the week that I felt Pats might relinquish possession a little bit to Derry City, and they certainly did in that first half. Derry City had 61% possession of the ball in the first half. Didn't have a shot on goal, on or off target, which is very disappointing. They tried to move the ball quickly at times, but they found it very difficult to actually find spaces and openings and create anything. Pats were happy enough. They weren't really pressing them. They were letting them do that and trying to keep a shape. They were caught out badly against Sligo, so I think that was in their heads as well. And they didn't want to be overran, I think, in midfield. That was the big thing too. Diallo, a player that played in midfield in this game, I thought was decent enough for Derry City. But Pats were looking to wait for the moments, and when Pats did win it, they looked dangerous and hit Derry at pace. There's one thing Derry are lacking. I've watched them a few times now. They lack pace. There's no doubt about it. They lack pace on that side. Particularly defensively, actually. They lack a lot of pace. And I think teams feel like they can get at them. If the likes of Albazzetti, Mulroney, etc., powerful players, and Keane as well, who's quicker than people think he is, but he's powerful, he can run. He's a good ball carrier, and even Melia too. So, and Pats looked to exploit that in the half, and they did create the only chances in the half. Keena forces a brilliant save actually from Brian Maher. A good shot, a lot of power. Maher does very well, actually gets a strong hand to it, makes a good save. There was a shot cleared off the line as well. And Pats did look far more dangerous. The penalty as well when was the penalty? The penalty was 16 minutes where Pats take the lead. Keena does well. He brushes Connolly aside. Connolly actually pulls his shirt. Kind of gets away with it. Keena does well. A lot of players might go down there, but does well. He shows good vision, finds Mason Melia. Amelia's about to shoot. And Doherty, unfortunately for Doherty, he's on the wrong side. Not deliberate, but he clips Melia, and it's enough to give a penalty. A few people said it wasn't a penalty. It's a penalty. I mean, he's the wrong side. Doherty clips him. It has to be a penalty. Something similar happened actually against Pats the previous week, or not previous week, even Friday against Sligo Rovers. Something similar, but again, that was a penalty too. So a couple of complaints from Tiernan Lynch. I'll get on to him in a minute, to be honest with you. But yeah, into the second half, Winchester picks up an early red card, and the reason why he's sent off is because the referee deems it as dangerous play, basically, and reckless, and it is. I've often seen yellow cards given for that type of challenge, but I've seen red cards too, and you can fully understand why it's a red card. I mean, it is reckless, dangerous. He goes in at pace, aggressively, takes Melia out of it, and then wins the ball. You can't go through a player to win a ball. I've seen a few comments about that too, but you just can't do it. And he's given the referee the option as well. You just can't make tackles like that anymore. I'm sorry, but you just can't do it. You're asking for trouble, basically. And he gets sent off. Second penalty, clear penalty. Had a great view of it as well. Not much to say. And a brilliant pass by Forrester, though. He disguised pass to Keena. Keena, very sharp in around the box as well. And he's taken down. And the two penalties are brilliantly taken, by the way. 2-0. Pats a lot of other chances in that second half. Did a couple of shots, Derry. Their best chance was Adam O'Reilly, wasn't it? He gets forward and he kind of he strikes it, goes across goal. And Nine probably has it covered, but that was probably their best chance in reality. Apart from that, they didn't offer much, 10 or 11 men, to be honest with you. And Pats were comfortable, probably could have won by more. Maher makes a good save from Mealy in that second half as well. And yeah, a few comments from Tiernan Lynch after the game. Look, every manager's gone to moan and say this. I mean, Kenny's done it there the other week where I disagreed with him against Drogheda, where he moaned about a couple of decisions, which I personally disagreed with Stephen Kenny there as well. But I'm disagreeing with Tiernan Lynch here too, and you know, kind of alluding to that's not really the game being ref differently down here than it was in the Irish League. Um, Look, he's employed by Derry City. He's paid by Derry City to do the job. I don't know how they ref games up north, but if they don't give penalties for those type of decisions, or they allow extremely aggressive and dangerous tackles, maybe, I don't know, but he needs to adapt himself and not be criticizing the league he's in or the play. He's he's paid by a League of Ireland club, because if he doesn't get his act together, he'll be going back to the Irish League as far as I'm concerned. He brought in these players too, a lot of experienced players. A lot of Derry fans are looking at it at the moment, I know that. He's well backed by Mr. O'Doherty, well backed by Doherty, I should say. And too early to be panicking for Derry, in my opinion. But, all eyes will be on Tiernan Lynch because he was afforded to get these players in. He was the man who brought these players in. So it'll be interesting to see going forward. They do lack pace. They don't look like a team unit at the moment, and that may take time, to be fair. So I wouldn't be panicking yet if I was a Derry City fan, but I do think the expectations were a little bit high from some Derry fans personally, especially early in the season. I know a few Derry fans I spoke to on my way into Talca Park, for example, and they expected just to turn up and roll over Shelbourne, and they were looking at me like a 10 heads when I said, but Shelbourne are a team unit and they're the champions. You'll do well to get something out of the game. I don't know, maybe that's just a few Derry fans. Most Derry fans might have more cop on than that, to be honest with you. But as for St. Patrick's Athletic, good week for them, isn't it? 2 wins in a row, 6 points. To be delighted with that. I'll talk about the Rovers game a bit later, but they'll be absolutely delighted about that. Defended way better in this game as well. Joe Redmond was brilliant in this game. He probably looked at last Friday himself, and that's the type of captain he is. He doesn't have a good game or whatever, it can happen. But Gravossi and Redmond are good players. Forrest are brilliant in the middle of the park. Elbazetti sharp. Mulroney, I thought played well. His work rate. Aidan Keena, brilliant again. Just his all-round game. He's scoring brilliant goals. And he's looking very sharp. His all-round game, between assisting for the penalty, for example, and hold up play and all that kind of stuff, runs in behind. If Pats are going to win this league, he's a player going to be a key player for them, basically. But yeah, really good result for Pats. Disappointing from Derry overall, I have to say again, unfortunately for them. Now, Dalymount Park have finished Bohemians 0, Drogheda United 1. First of all, fantastic win for Drogheda, still unbeaten in the league. They've conceded 1 goal and they're second in the league. And they've done it as well without Douglas James Taylor, which unfortunately looks like he's out for a couple of months now. At this point, he's going to be out for a few months. That was the initial fear. And I suppose those fears have been realised. They're missing Josh Thomas for this game as well. One man that did play up front and made his first start for the club was Thomas Alua, and he scored the winner on 16 minutes. A brilliant goal. Drogheda had started very well, actually. Ross Tierney cleared off the line, for example. Shane Farrell had a brilliant free kick that actually hit the bar. It comes out, Bowles clear it, and Lamb gets it back into the box. Alua swivels and gives Drogheda the lead, and that was the only goal of the game. Very disappointing for Bowles. They had a couple of speculative efforts from Tierney, Devoy from long range. That was pretty much it. Movement too slow, far too slow. Drogheda set up very well. If you're going to break down Drogheda, you have to play good, quick football. You really do. Drogheda had a couple of other chances as well. Second half of Lua does brilliantly, actually, and Talbot saves. But their record is unbelievable, Bowles. Since April 19th of last year, Bowles have won 1 league game at Dalymount. 1 league game at Dalymount. It's just incredible. 9 wins in 37 matches for Bohemians. Their team for this game as well. 3 defeats down the bounce as well. And, They do have some good players, but they went for James Talbot in goal. Right back was Smith. He came back in. Mountney was left back. Gretton and Kavanagh was centre back. Now I do this pretty much every week, and Bows have chopped and changed a lot more than any other team in the league. I can tell you that, guaranteed, a lot more than any other team in the league. Smith's in one week, he's out the next week. Mountney's in one week, he's out the next week. Gretton right back one week. You know what I mean? Etc. etc. Of course, Cornwall is injured, so that's a different scenario. But they've made a lot of chops and changes without players being injured. Morahan actually moved to right back at one point in this match in the second half, for example. He started in midfield with Devoy, Tierney in the middle as a 10, Rooney, Parsons wide, and actually Colin Whelan made his first start of the season up front. So a bit of consistency as such in those areas, midfield and the attacking areas, you know what I mean? But overall, they've chopped and changed an awful lot. Alan Reynolds has brought in a lot of these players. A lot of them are good players. First pre-season. He needs to have an idea of what his side is. Like, 1 week Flores is left back, Best is they've already had 3 players playing left back this season. Do you know what I mean? For example, 3 players in 4 games, is it? Like, that's amazing for a start. I don't know what Bows fans think in general, but it's too many changes. They don't look like a team still. Reynolds was there last season. He had a good pre-season with players, got in some decent players, I feel, as well. But why did it still not look like a team unit? That's the question I'd ask of Bowes. Flip it the other side, look at Drogheda. But Drogheda, they really do look like an actual well-oiled machine, and they can be missing players. Like Alua and Davis is up front for this one. Now, they've chopped and changed the strikers, but that more out of necessity than anything else. Lou obviously started, as I said. Davis was up front, but in goal was Luke Dennison. Kane was left wing back, Lamb was right wing back, Bulger, Keeley and Quinn the centre backs, and that's been their back 5, if you like, back 3 and 2 wing backs for all the games so far. Markey, Brennan and Farrell, all the games so far they've been their midfield. It's only up front they've made changes, and that's because of injuries. Josh Thomas, for example, obviously DJ missing start of the season. Bawa played a couple of games but didn't maybe play so well, so therefore they made a change there for that particular reason, because of form, essentially. So, you know what you're going to get from Drogheda. Extremely hard-working team. Really hard-working team. Very dangerous in the counter-attack and play with real energy and gusto. Fully deserved the 3 points in this game. It's been a brilliant start to the season for Drogheda United. Absolutely brilliant start of the season for Drogheda United. Second in the league, and what can you say about Bowes, honestly, that I haven't said already? It's very disappointing. Where did it go from here? I don't know. I don't know. What do Bowes fans think? Do you think they need to change management? Like, surely at this point there has to be some form of identity. Even if you're not a good side, you can see a form of identity usually with the team, even if a team is a poor side. I can't see that with Bowes. Maybe Bowes fans can. Let me know in the comments. Drogheda fans, you must be delighted. Let me know your thoughts in the comments too. Now, at Eamon DC Park finished Galway United 1, Shelbourne 1, and both teams still remain unbeaten in the league. Shelbourne on 8 points, not top anymore, as Waterford have gone top, and Galway with 3 draws and a win, and that brilliant win was against St Patrick's Athletic. 2 draws and 2 wins for Shells. Shells will be disappointed, I think, with the Friday and Monday. They got 2 points. I think they would have been looking to get minimum 4 points, if I'm honest with you. So I think Damien Duffy will be a bit disappointed from that. I'd argue the one they really should have won out of the 2 more so was probably Shamrock Rovers at Talca Park, being honest with you. But this particular game, sprung into life, really, didn't it, in the second half, to be honest. Evan Caffrey with that goal in 52 minutes. I know the commentator said it was an easy header. That's not an easy header. It was a long ball initially. I think Martin has a shot, doesn't he? And it's saved by Brendan Clark. Comes out Wood. Lovely ball, floated to the back post, and Caffrey had made a deep run, got into a good position, and it's a calm, I would say, header into the goal. They always look easy when they're scored, but that wasn't an easy header. You'd expect them to score, of course, but it's not easy. So that was 1-0, and cue an avalanche for Galway after going behind, and They got crosses into the box, they put shells under a lot of pressure, and eventually scored a goal through John Martin's OG on 58 minutes. And it's a disappointing one to concede. It's obviously from a corner. Martin, I don't know, he's not in the right position or something. I don't know how he ends up putting it in the back of the net, but his position, his body position isn't good. Initially, it was given for offside, which I find bizarre from a corner kick. I'm not sure who gave it, but I've heard that the referee gave it and was overruled by his linesman, but I don't understand why the referee would give an offside in that position. Not trusting the linesman, so bizarre initially. Um, Imagine being offside from a corner, but Galway were level in the game, and Shells has some chances after that. Clark makes a good save from Paddy Barr, for example, and they're such a difficult team to play against Galway. I mean, they'll pick up points against most sides this season, and Shells will have to be content with the point, in my opinion. They'll have to be content. They'll have no choice, will they? But yeah, I mean, Ollie Horgan's talk after the game, he seemed a little disappointed. Galway didn't get the points either. They felt like that after they scored, they put a bit of pressure on Shells as well. But Clark did make the better saves in the game. Kearns did make a very good save, actually, from Keohane too. But, Galway went with their team. Clark was in goal. Back three, which they've settled on so far this season, of Slevenbruder and Cunningham. The two wing-backs in this game, they were missing Bobby Burns, who actually has 2 assists. Their two wing-backs, Asue and Bobby Burns, have 2 assists apiece. But Bobby Burns didn't start this game. Regan Donlan actually started left wing back with Asue right wing back. And it was an interesting one because they played Hickey, Keohane, and actually Cian Byrne in midfield, Deloney from Bowes, who's a defender ordinarily. Stephen Walsh actually played up front. Borden was in midfield as well. Hickey played in behind Walsh, so they didn't play 2 up front in this game. So that's where they changed their shape a little bit. Walsh still hasn't scored. Dyer came on and forced a good save from Kearns. He hasn't scored either. But yeah, solid point for Galway. As for Shells, they went for Kearns and goal, as you would expect. In came Norris to make his first team debut at left back. Centre backs for Paddy Barrett and Ledwidge in this game. Temple actually played right back as well, Lewis Temple, which was interesting. The youngster making his first start of the season for Shelbourne. They did make a few changes. Maybe that messed them up a little bit in terms of what they were at in previous games as such. But Wood did play left, Caffrey right. Lunny played in the middle of the park with Chapman, Odebeko and Martin up front. And they probably missed Mark Coyle, to be fair, in the game. He came on as a sub, but did Duff make too many changes? Shelbourne fans, let me know what you think. I mean, obviously Boyd didn't start the game. I mean, he completely changed the midfield, didn't he? So, Lunny comes in, that's fine, but maybe make 1 change in midfield as opposed to 2 changes in midfield. I understand why Boyd didn't play, because he picked up muscle injuries, and the Friday and Monday would have been a concern, etc. But let me know what you think in the comments if you're a Shelbourne fan from that point of view. Did they lose a bit of something from making so many changes? So let me know what you think in the comments if you're a Galway or Shelbourne fan, what you're talking about this game. Now finally, the big Munster derby at the RC was on TV. Waterford FC beat Cork City by 2-1, and a good game for TV and highlighted the derby very, very well. We had a sending off, of course. Well, we 2 actually, but we had a sending off in the game, and obviously we had 3 goals and drama of a late winner for the Blues. Cork City took the lead after 8 minutes. Brilliant play from Alex Nolan, his first start of the season. That's what Nolan can do. I've watched him at times play for Pats, and whereas he can be inconsistent, and obviously there's a lot of things Alex needs to learn in the game, and that got that in his locker. Great skill and lovely finish, and he's an exciting player, Nolan. That Cork City went in front. McMenemy hits the bar in the first half, but Cork, apart from that, probably felt they were quite comfortable. Into the second half, in a minute in the second half, Pádraig Hammond scores to give Waterford the equaliser, and Cork will be disappointed to come out at half time, and obviously you could see straight away. But it's a brilliant goal by Hammond, probably the best instinctive striker in the league, in my opinion. He swivels and plays and fires it to the corner. It's just an instinctive finish, and that seems to be his forte, in my view. Waterford went on to have a host of chances in that second half, didn't they? And Truce made some excellent saves in the game. We had the red card, so we did. Anderson gets sent off. the second yellow, I didn't see the first yellow, I'll be honest. Second yellow, for me, it is a second yellow, so he has to go, doesn't he? So I don't think there's an issue there, in my opinion. And the winner comes right on through Kyle White, who scores 2 goals in as many games for the Blues. And I felt sorry for Truss, because Truss made a lot of good saves actually in the half, and made a brilliant save actually from Tommy Lonergan. It comes out and he's just exposed, and White finishes to the net, and Waterford win 2-1. And it's a great win for Waterford. They're now top of the league. They've 3 wins, 1 defeat. That defeat was against the champions. They'd be a bit wary, Waterford fans, in my opinion, though, because, or they should be maybe, because they started off very well last season too, didn't they? And they did drift off, so they hope they don't drift off this season. They'd love to make a push for Europe, in my opinion. But McMullen started in goal for them, went with a back three: Rakowski, Boyle, and Leahy. Sorry, left wing back was White, backboard was right wing back. McMenemy and MacDonald in midfield. MacDonald with another assist in the game. Conan, Noonan in behind Hammond and Lonergan, and I like that at the moment. Lonergan, Hammond, Noonan in behind. There's a nice little access to that, and they're playing well. Noonan's a very good player. He's a tasty player. I've seen him for Shamrock Rovers plenty of times, and stylish football. He's a footballer, isn't he? Very good passer of the ball as well. Cork City, they'll be disappointed to lose the game. I'll talk about Maguire in a minute, but Truce was in goal, of course. Benny Kudo left back. Crowley, who set up the goal, was right back for Nolan, although you have to give all the credit for Nolan there. Lyon centre back with Anderson, who was sent off, of course. In midfield was Bulger and Nelson, with Dykesteel on the left, Nolan on the right, Keishan, Maguire up front. And the two killers, I think, in the game, to be fair to Cork, you talk about sendings off and etc., but to lose Maguire and Bulger through injury, Maguire in 22 minutes, what looks like a hamstring injury, which could be a massive loss for Cork. And Bulger, who started the season very well, had to come off at half time. Not too sure about the injury there. They'll hope he'll be all right for Friday. But two big players for Cork City, and two players you feel they can't really afford to be missing. Interesting comments, obviously, at the end of the game from Tim Clancy. And obviously, you're going to be disappointed to lose a game late on, heat in the moment. I always say managers don't get much time to think, put it that way. So a lot of things are said in the heat of the moment too. But Tim, obviously very disappointed, but wasn't very happy, to say the least, with the referee's performance. And he mentioned it basically in the post-match interview, and said that he thought he performed poorly, etc. And the referee apparently said that he thought his side were shocking, and he wasn't very happy with that, Tim. So he basically said, "Is your ego getting the better of you?" And he got sent off essentially for that. And yeah, interesting stuff there. I know he wasn't happy with the second yellow, etc., and the number of things in the game. I thought it was a second yellow. I do think the referee got that right, to be honest with you. But interesting comments all the same from Tim, and let me know what you think in the comments. Waterford fans, let me know what you think in the comments. Cork City fans, let me know what you think in the comments. So now, quick predictions for Friday's games. And Cork City will take on Sligo Rovers at Turner's Cross. And I mentioned in the review of Cork's game against Waterford how Maguire, I don't think, makes it for this game, to be honest. Hamstring injury. Bulger, I'm not sure. If they're missing him, he's a big loss as well. Sligo will take confidence from the victory against Shamrock Rovers. Cork have already had 2 home games this season and gained 4 points. I think Sligo might go to Turner's Cross and get a win here and back it up, get back-to-back victories. Cork City 1, Sligo Rovers 2. At the Brandywell, Derry City take on unbeaten Cork City. Or unbeaten Galway United, of course. Their manager was manager of Cork City, to be fair. I'm wearing a Cork jersey as well, so that's probably in my head. And I was just talking about Cork City, all those things combined. But Galway United, unbeaten, look like a real team. We talk about team units and how teams are set up, etc. Derry just don't look like that at the moment. Can they get like that? Is the manager up to the task? We don't know. We don't know in these questions about Derry. One thing we do know is that they've been poor so far, and they're going to have to improve for Friday. They did win at the Brandywell, to be fair, against Bows, who've struggled themselves. Galway aren't a team that are struggling. I suspect Derry are going to have to perform very well in this game, maybe put on their best performance of the season if they're going to get anything out of the game, actually. Winchester will be suspended. They have to get something out of the game. Galway, kind of draw specialists. I'm going to go for Derry City 1, Galway United 1. Tallaght Stadium, Shamrock Rovers will take on St Patrick's Leg. Already it's a big game for Shamrock Rovers. As I said, I think they look leggy. The European excursions, a long season, not really having a full pre-season. Not strengthening their squad. But they are Tallaght Stadium. They're going to have to bring, in my opinion, some of that European form that they showed at Tallaght Stadium in particular in this match, in my opinion. Can they get up to those levels? If they can, of course, they have a chance of getting something, be it a win or a draw out of the game. But if they can't, I think Pats will definitely turn them over. And if Pats turn them over this early in the season, it's going to be very difficult for Shamrock Rovers, I think. Particularly if, say, Shells were to win the same night. It's a big game for Shamrock Rovers. I think it's a must not lose. If they win, it'd be massive for them, and they could well win, but they're going to have to summon some kind of performance, find energy from somewhere, in my opinion. Pats, the Tallaght pitch kind of suits Pats, particularly with wide players like El Bazzetti, Mulroney, if powers to come on. They all have power and pace. Keena looks like he's going to trouble any defence in this league. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because, it's Shamrock Rovers, it's Tallaght, but they're going to have to perform, and if they can't perform or find it difficult to get up to the levels that they haven't shown yet in the league, it could be a difficult night for them. I'm going to go for Pats actually to nick this one. Barry Bagley's back as well. Shamrock Rovers 1, St Patrick's Leg 2. Talca Park, Shelbourne take on unbeaten Drogheda United. Both sides unbeaten. Both sides, I was going to say playing with confidence, although Shelbourne drew their last two games, but the President's Cup, I thought Drogheda were terrible in that game against Shells. Shells played well. Shells seem to have a good record against Drogheda, don't they? Especially at Talca Park. They really do, and it'd be typical of Drogheda lost their first game of the season against Shells at Talca Park in many ways. They've been so tight defensively, Drogheda. Their trek on forward, even though they're missing key players. I wonder if Josh Thomas will be back for the game. That'll be interesting to know. Alua, will he start? I think he has to, doesn't he? Regardless of whether Thomas is back or not. If Thomas is back, maybe you start him and Thomas. Who knows? Although I don't think he's kind of... Kevin played one striker behind the other. I don't think either of them suit that role, to be honest. They have to be the leading man, so that could be interesting. Shells, I'd imagine, will bring back the likes of Boyd, Coyle, maybe McEnroy too, Gannon, etc. coming back into the side. So they'll probably be at their pretty much strongest, really. Norris starts again for me at left back, even if Bowen is back as well. So they've such a good record, but I don't think it'll be anywhere near as easy as it was in the President's Cup. I do think Shells will win the game. Shelbourne 1, Drogheda United 0. Then finally at the RSC, it's Waterford FC and Bohemians, and it's the battle of the former managers, really. Keith Long, long-time manager of Bowes. Alan Reynolds, of course, from Waterford, and managed Waterford too, but big game this for Bowes. They're playing the top of the table team, Waterford. And I suppose there's a bit of pressure on Waterford now, a little bit. Suddenly you're top of the table. Okay, you're playing with confidence, etc. Bowes, I don't know. What kind of team are they going to play? Do you know what I mean? What kind of team are they going to play? How many changes are they going to make? How many changes will they make a fullback? Realistically, on form and the way they're playing, how they're playing, you'd have to say Waterford. I mean, that acts as a Noonan, Lonergan, and Ammon's working very well. You've got McDonald, for example, in behind that. The wing backs are working well for them as well. I think White and Backboard. I mean, if Bowles play anything the way they've been playing, and including the Shamrock Rovers game, to be honest, I thought Rovers were there for the taking that day, if I'm honest with you. They weren't that good in that game either. If they play the way they've played in any of the four games, Waterford will turn them over. So Bowles are going to have to find a performance literally from somewhere. They don't look like a unit. Can they do it? I don't know. Waterford, going well on form, looking like a unit. Um, what happens if Bows lose? Could that be the end of their manager? Who knows? I'm going to go for Waterford to win this one. I just think if Waterford play well and play with a tempo, I can't see the Bows defence handling that access I talked about. Waterford FC 3, Bohemians 1. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, your thoughts on the games on Monday, predictions for the games on Friday. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.